few remarks and then we'll open it up to questions. Cameron, just let me know when you're ready. Morgan, good? Okay.
We're good. Okay, good morning, and thank you everybody for joining us today. On Tuesday, we lost a very important member of our rider family, and Saskatchewan lost a great man, someone filled with warmth, kindness, and passion. The Riders lost someone who helped change the course of history for our team. On a personal level, Jim changed the course of my life, bringing me back home to Saskatchewan, and for that, I'm forever grateful. I'm going to miss a man I admired greatly, and who was an incredible mentor and friend. But most of all, my thoughts are with his incredible wife, Brenda, who has an unmatched strength, and his two amazing kids, Carrie and Tyler. And we offer to them our deepest condolences. So I'll open up for questions.
Sorry, Brett or Brett? Okay, sorry. Can you just go into detail a little bit about how you said he brought you back to Saskatchewan?
Yeah, I met Jim for the first time when I interviewed for the Chief Financial Officer position with the club. And right from the moment I met him, I thought, this is somebody I want to work with and work for. And was extremely excited and grateful when he gave me that opportunity to come home to Saskatchewan. I was working in Alberta. Had always thought about coming home. Loved this team so much, and saw obviously Jim loved this team so much, and I just thought he was someone that I could learn a great deal from. Someone I would enjoy coming to work with every single day, and I can honestly say that was the case. I loved every second I worked with Jim. As I mentioned, he was an incredible mentor. I learned so much from him. Yeah, and I cherish every moment I spent with the man.
Sorry for your loss, Craig. Can you even begin to sum up what Jim meant to this organization as a whole?
No, it's very hard, Taylor. We had a chance to honor Jim a few weeks ago at the Jim Hopson Auditorium when we named that after him, and tried to put it down in words, but it was difficult. He, as I mentioned, he changed the course for this club forever. He's the first to admit he didn't do it alone. Obviously the board made a courageous decision to hire Jim in the first place. They certainly hired the right person, but he just brought a change in attitude. He brought a belief that this club could be great. And it could be what it is today. And, it's debatable, would we be in this facility, this amazing facility, without Jim? He did so much for this club. No matter how many accolades we bestow upon him, it's still not enough to thank him for what he did and the leadership he showed throughout his tenure here.
The press conference was in the old locker room at the old stadium when you officially took over. What do you remember sort of about that whole transition and some of the advice that he might have passed along to you during that time?
Yeah, Jim was so great. He was so great because he was just there. Like he wasn't, and that's just his way. He wasn't overbearing. He wasn't, you should do it this way, or have you thought about this? He just was there for me to ask questions of, and to be there to support and to bounce ideas off of. And yeah, he was that mentor role, and that's just who he was. He was like that when throughout his entire time. Like he believed in people, and he just believed in the people that worked for him, and I was fortunate enough to be one of those people that he believed in me, and so it just, you had the confidence that you're gonna have him to support you through the transition, And then after the transition, you just knew he was going to be there for you because he believed in you.
Craig, how did you find out about his passing? Kind of just your thoughts and emotions when you heard about it.
Yeah, I found out Tuesday late afternoon. I was with my family in Phoenix, and Brenda had mentioned to me on Saturday that Jim was not doing as well, and he's probably towards his final days, and his family was coming to sort of say their goodbyes. So I guess in one respect you're sort of prepared for to hear, but I don't know if you truly are. It probably didn't hit me right off the bat because I just knew I wanted to get back here, and so you kind of get into that mode. But it hit me yesterday pretty hard that we had lost him, and it was amazing to see all the tributes to him, and everyone is he's deserving of, and so that gives you comfort, I think, but also it's emotional. And I was able to talk to Brenda a bit more on Wednesday, and that was emotional. And then Carrie, his daughter, reached out, and that was emotional. So yeah, I think the emotions hit more yesterday that we had lost him.
What have just these last few years been like, just talking to Jim and everything? Because talking to other people, he's still positive and still kind of the same old Jim despite the diagnosis.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was funny because you talk to him, and he would describe his day, and a lot of those days were really tough, and then he would end it with but it was still a great day. He was still positive at the end of it. He would end with positivity, and that was just him. He had this optimism and positive spirit, and I would get off the phone and I'm just like, that didn't sound like a good day, but Jim made you feel like it was. He was having a good day, and that's just the way he was. I don't. He might be the most optimistic person I've ever met in my life. He just is. He has a real positive mindset, and I think that served him very well with his cancer diagnosis. I know it served him very well with his cancer diagnosis. Even towards the end, the last time I got to see him in person was a couple weeks ago at his place, and he was still positive then, and you could tell that he wasn't doing well, but he was the same old Jim, like you said, Brendan.
Craig, what did Jim teach us, the way he handled those final few months?
Well, it's hard to say. I think if there's something I take away from it, it's just that positive spirit is just really important, and to approach things with positivity and optimism. I think that's just how Jim lived life. Like, even after a tough loss, like I remember seeing Jim after the 2009 Grey Cup loss, and I was near him, and he was leaned up against the fence and really upset. And then probably talked to him an hour later, and he said, "We'll be back." And that was just how he was. He was just always positive.
Craig, your first meeting with Jim, what was it about him that really told you that this is someone you wanted to work for?
Yeah, it was interesting because I reflected on that actually this morning, Rob. Just thinking about the first time I met Jim, and he was with a couple of board members as well, and he didn't say a ton, but I think it was just the questions he asked, or the odd time he'd have a comment, and it was really just insightful, and he just had a presence and like I said before, he had a warmth about him, and you just looked and you thought, he's a good leader. He's a really good leader, and by that time that was early 2009, and by that time it already had a ton of success and was doing a lot of really positive things, and the organization was just something that under his leadership that was growing and had a ton of great things ahead for it, I believed, and so yeah, I just think it was just his presence and his warmth. You could tell he cared about people, and that's the type of person you want to work for.
Just curious about what you think made him so successful in a results-oriented business. He got the results. He got the Grey Cup wins, and success in terms of attendance and at the stadium, and maybe just get a sense about what made him successful in that regard.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to people and the belief he had in people, and he grew the organization at a time when I think it needed to grow, and he hired good people, and he just believed in them, and he let them do their thing, and that's on the football side as well. I think he hired good people and gave them as the tools that we could, and made investments into the football side of things, treated players really well, treated coaches really well, treated people really well. And when you treat people really well, they want to deliver for you. They want to work for you, and they want to be successful. And I think I heard some of that a little bit yesterday, listening to some of the tributes that came in, where, yeah, and I'm the same way. I wanted to do my best work for Jim, because he just believed in you, and you wanted to deliver for him. And obviously I wasn't on the football side, but I know from my colleagues on that side, they felt the same. They wanted to deliver for him, and get the results that this organization deserved.
Yeah, maybe talk a little bit about the whole culture change from going from being, the lovable losers to that not being acceptable anymore. You have to have the higher standard, right?
Yeah, I just think it was a total attitude change, and he just brought that attitude change. And I think it's part and parcel with his positivity. He just sort of said, well, why can't it be us? Like, why aren't we the flagship franchise? Why can't we be the flagship franchise? Why can't we lead the league in every category? And he just sort of believed in that, and had that sort of positive attitude, and he inspired others to believe in that too, because we always had the fan base. We've always had the fan base, but he just inspired, I think people to truly believe that we could do that. Then you combine that with some of the things I said before, where we hire good people, and you empower them, and you give them the tools to do things, and you inspire that belief in them. And I think this wonderful new stadium is just a prime example of that. He made the province believe that we deserved the best stadium in Canada, and this is, and we should be very proud of what we have here, because he believed that the fans deserve this, and that we as a province deserve that, and our football team deserved that, and we deserve these incredible facilities that we have today. And even through that process, I remember conversations. He entrusted me with so much around the stadium, and I remember just the conversations. He just kept saying, "Make it the best it can be," and I just felt incredible, an honor to be able to kind of participate in that and try to make it the best it could possibly be, because he just made us all believe that we deserve that. This football team deserved that, and our fans deserve that.
And John mentioned the culture change. He took over at a time when that type of position hadn't existed previously, and that was a huge change philosophically for the organization. On top of everything he accomplished, what kind of challenge do you think it was for him to come in at that time when there was 95 years of doing it a different way?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, Rob, that Jim probably doesn't get enough credit for. But I think stepping back, and Jim's the first to say this, I think a ton of credit has to go to the board of directors at that time, or I guess they were called the management committee at that time, to make that decision after 95 years of doing it one way, and to recognize we need to do this differently. Something has to change here, because we have this incredible fan base, and we can be very, very successful here. And so the credit first and foremost needs to go to them. But Jim and I talked a lot about. I came in and met Jim several years after that. But he would talk about some of the challenges there, because we needed to invest, and we need to grow. And I think when Jim started, Jen's here. She might be Jem and Cliver. They might have been here, but there was 12 people, I think, or something that worked in the organization when he first started. And you can't run a super successful sports franchise with 12 people. And so he knew that you needed to invest, but in order to do that, he needed to convince people and get buy-in to his vision. And he went about that sort of methodically, and eventually got that. And I don't think he gets enough credit for that, because that's hard to change when you have 95. Change is hard, period. Organizational change is very hard. And when you have 95 years of history to change, it's especially hard. But he was the right person to do that. He was the right person at the right time, and he was able to execute that brilliantly and to great success.
Craig, just when you took over from Jim, what was his advice for you at the time?
You know, I wish I could remember a specific nugget of advice. He might have said, "Don't screw it up" or something in a typical sort of Jim way. But he one thing I do remember is he said, "Just be yourself." He said, "There's a reason why, you know, he believed in me," and he said, "Just be yourself."
There's been quite an outpouring of support from the fan base, social media, and otherwise to this point. Is there anything that people can do in terms of reaching out condolences or maybe donations into the flowers, anything like that, or contact the club?
Yeah, I would say to contact the club. I haven't had a chance, Tyler, to connect with Brenda just specifically on that. I know Jim's passionate about the community and obviously the club and obviously with his cancer diagnosis with cancer. So I just don't have the answer to that right now. But that's something we'll work with the family on, because certainly want to wish, respect their wishes and what they think is best.
I guess, what are you going to miss most about Jim going forward? Obviously, he was very important to you and to this organization, but personally, on a personal level, what are you going to miss?
Just going to miss my friend. Just going to miss being able to talk to him and know I can reach out to him. Yeah, just going to miss that he was always there. I'd pick and choose, I would, but I just knew that he'd be there. Just gonna miss my friend.